So now it's my pleasure to welcome another student, our student speaker, Jeremy Fine. Jeremy is a junior majoring in philosophy, neuroscience, and psychology. That's all one thing, not three different topics. And minoring in music. Jeremy is a wonderful example of an arts and sciences student focused on both his pre-medical studies and his passion for music. He also plays guitar for a local band called the Swamp Cats. Jeremy?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. To the donors, faculty, and my fellow students, it's an honor to be in your presence. Now, this is the point in the night when, if I were in the audience, I'd be stuffed, tired, and hoping this kid makes it quick so I can get back to binge watching Black Mirror on Netflix. I mean, this kid looks like he could still order off the kids menu. Like, why is he so special that he could tell me something I don't already know? The answer to that is, I'm really not. I'm no more qualified to give this speech than any individual in this room. I just happen to be very comfortable talking about one of the few experiences all of us have in common, whereas others are often uncomfortable doing so. Hardship. In itself, hardship is not inherently good or bad. When we're experiencing hardship, it certainly doesn't feel good. But what if this is just a matter of perspective? What if instead, we actively choose to view hardship as an opportunity? In my experience, looking at hardship as an opportunity has enriched my life and has allowed me to enrich the lives of others. Here's an example. In 2010, when my father was driving to work, he was hit head-on by a truck driven by an uninsured driver. Thankfully, he survived. He did, however, lose his left arm in the accident. Now, as you can imagine, this was an incredibly difficult time for my family. After my dad's month-long hospital stay, my family was left with hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills our insurance refused to cover. My father was left severely depressed, and my younger brother and I were left with lasting mental scars. At least, that was one way to look at it. However, that is not how my family chose to look at the situation. My mother chose to see our medical debt as an error in the system that she had the power to change. So she did. In 2012, my mother became the state representative of Illinois' 17th district, campaigning on a platform of insurance reform. The first bill she passed into law raised the minimum auto insurance liability in Illinois, helping to ensure that nobody else goes through what my family went through. She later went on to become the chair of the General Assembly's Health and Safety Insurance Committee and is now running for the Illinois State Senate. My father, after climbing his way out of the deepest depths of the human psyche, chose to give motivational speeches to schools and youth groups about overcoming adversity and dealing with mental health issues. Recently, he's been helping others with chronic pain as a Bikram yoga teacher, and he's also a better golfer than most people with two arms. Personally, I chose to make use of the whole experience by honing my ability to empathize with others. Throughout high school, and even today, I'm often the one who my friends call in the middle of the night when life takes a left turn. In the same vein, many of you in the audience have chosen to give others the opportunity to use their life experiences as their motivation for change. Through your contributions, you are giving some of the brightest students in the world the chance to positively impact their communities. Because of this, the next generation of college students will be able to further build upon the progress of those before them and go on to create an extensive web of societal improvement. The Swathi Arekapudi Scholarship is allowing me to pursue my goal of becoming a clinical pediatric psychiatrist. Yes, this is an oddly specific path to choose as a junior in college, but I've explicitly chosen this path to follow my parents' example. Last year, for the first time in my life, I began to deal with mental health issues of my own. As I later realized, I'd been suffering from a serious case of obsessive compulsive disorder, which as it turns out is genetically transmitted in my family. My mind went to some of the same places that I witnessed my father's mind go to when he was at his lowest points. But as I stand before you here today, I feel better than I could have possibly imagined even a few short months ago. This is not only due to my own work in learning how to cope with this chronic illness, but also to my family, friends, and therapists who helped me along the way. Now, I want to pay it forward by trying to prevent others from having to experience the same anguish that I did. I plan to do this by treating kids and young adults with OCD as a professional who can truly empathize with what my patients are going through. I also plan on doing research in order to create new medications and treatments for OCD and other related disorders. And lastly, as I'm doing right now, I plan to continue shamelessly breaking the stigma about talking about mental health so that nobody has to suffer in silence. Without this scholarship providing me with an opportunity to pursue my P&P major at WashU, so many of these doors which I am opening would not only be locked, but would be invisible to me. My area of study has taught me both the material necessary for my future, as well as the avenues that exist to use my knowledge. For this, I'm immensely grateful. WashU has already presented such paths to me. Last year, after meeting with a pre-med advisor in the Career Center to find ways to volunteer in the community, I learned of a clinic called Casa de Salud. Casa was founded to help uninsured and underinsured immigrants and refugees in the St. Louis area obtain access to physical and mental health care. While Casa helps anybody that falls under these parameters, currently their patient base is predominantly Spanish-speaking. I applied for an internship at Casa while I was abroad in Argentina this past summer. After an interview and a proficiency exam over Skype, which, believe me, is as nerve-wracking as it sounds, I was fortunate enough to be offered the opportunity to become a guia intern. Guia means guide in Spanish. In this capacity, for about 10 hours a week, I travel throughout St. Louis guiding patients through the healthcare system. My role is to accompany patients to ensure that they are treated fairly, that they feel as comfortable as possible during their appointments, and that the language barrier does not affect their quality of care. It's the most incredible job in the world, and I'm honored to be a part of such a wonderful organization. It's truly a privilege to work on behalf of my patients. They're the best of humanity, and I'm often lucky enough to hear their stories. The sacrifices many of them have made for their families and their will to live life, no matter what extraordinary obstacles they encounter, endlessly astound and inspire me. Without WashU illuminating this path for me, I would not have the privilege of using my passion to make those in our community feel as healthy and welcomed as possible. For this, I am also immensely grateful. The students present at this dinner are going to go out into the world and use their experiences and passions to create immeasurable ripples of change. And for many of us, the only reason the water was set into motion to begin with is because of the generosity of many of you here tonight. So on behalf of all of the scholarship recipients and all of the lives they will go on to change in the future, I would like to thank you personally for doing everything you are to make this world a better place. It has been an absolute privilege to speak in front of all of you tonight. I hope everyone has a phenomenal rest of their evening. Thank you.